Well, now we just take a quick break from all of the International Football World Cup talk to talk about Manchester United, shall we, boys? Especially as it relates to the summer transfer window. First things first, it seems like they're heavily interested in Crysencio Summerville for £50 million. Robbo?
Yes. He had a very good time at Leeds for a season when they got promoted. He went to West Ham. He obviously got relegated this season with West Ham, but he had some good moments. He was one of their best players. He's a player that's got lots of pace. We saw him at the World Cup score a goal for the Dutch. He plays mainly on the right-hand side. He's got pace. He can go past people. He can score a goal. Is he worth £50 million? Will he make Manchester United a top team? I'm not so sure.
Shaka, he's putting down one of your hammers.
Yeah, no, listen, I think Summerville started a little bit slowly for West Ham and then got better as the season went on. And I think that's where the valuation comes from. At 24 years old, can't really call him a youngster that much anymore, but he's certainly trending well for Manchester United. And if they do get him, and he continues to progress as he has, I think he can prove to be a very good signing indeed. I quite like this one.
Rob, if you're going to compare him to Amad Diallo, who has scored quite a brilliant goal for Cote d'Ivoire in the World Cup right now, who are you taking?
I like Diallo. I think he's a good player. I think he's obviously been at Manchester. He went on loan, but been at Manchester United, and when he plays, I think he's changed the team on occasions. Is Summerville better than him? I wouldn't say so at the moment. No.
So you're sticking with Amad?
I'm going to stick with Amad.
All right, well, let's move on now to probably the biggest transfer story at Manchester United right now, and that is what happens with Marcus Rashford. Now, apparently he's made it known that if he doesn't get the transfer to Barcelona, he wants to see out his current United contract, which has 2 more years left. Now, his contract includes a hefty £40 million release clause. Now, the €30 million buy option expired yesterday. So what happens here, Shaka?
Right now, I get the feeling that Marcus Rashford is at least going to start the season back in Manchester United. Rashford commands quite a hefty salary. You're not sure how many clubs are going to take that option. I thought Barcelona would. Given his role for Barcelona last season, not a starter, but coming off the bench and giving option. And then once Barcelona kind of passed on that and were more willing to spend $80 million on Anthony Gordon, you just got the feeling that something wasn't quite right, that he wasn't as good a fit as maybe you would think, given some of his performances. And that is a little bit alarming for anybody looking in from the outside who are considering spending that kind of money, at least in wages, on Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, Robert, Marcus Rashford became quite a revelation at Barcelona. Do you think Michael Carrick can somehow integrate him back into United?
Well, you're a big fan of Manchester United. That tattoo will tell everybody that. Will the fans like him back? Would the fans accept him coming back?
I would accept him back.
Yeah, because there was a lot of times in the last couple of years when he was at Manchester United when he didn't play particularly well and he didn't look as though he was enjoying his football, didn't look as though he was trying on certain occasions.
But you can argue that the environment also contributed.
Yeah, so the environment wasn't quite right for him, but that's no excuse not to be running around and trying. And he was sulking quite a lot of the time. I think it would be very, very difficult for him to go back to Manchester United. But from Marcus Rashford's point of view, he's got to play football. He's had a couple of years where he didn't play football. He's only been a substitute for Barcelona on many occasions. He might have to take a wage. Don't worry about the wages. I'm sure he's got lots of money. Go and make sure you play for 2 or 3 years and be the best player you possibly can be, wherever there is. I don't think it will be at Manchester United.
But, Robbo, you know this game as well as anybody. Marcus Rashford scores 3 or 4 goals in his first 3 or 4 games, and then all of a sudden, that sentiment for Manchester United, that sentiment around Marcus Rashford returning to Old Trafford dissipates. Fans warm to that. And in his defence, Michael Carrick has gotten a lot out of players who we felt similarly about. Kobe Mainoo first comes to mind. Michael Carrick has been able to just put players in the right positions and get the best out of them. If he can do that with Marcus Rashford, despite everything that's gone before, that will prove to be water under the bridge.
Do you feel he's changed?
I think he changed his attitude at Barcelona. He looked as though he's more enthusiastic. But there still was something that Hansi Flick didn't like enough to put him in the team on a regular basis. And I understand that because his decision-makings at times, some of the things he did, you think, what was he doing that for? He can be an outstanding player on his day, but his day doesn't come often enough for me.
All right.
Right, let's go to Texas. Our chief correspondent, Kaveh Solokol, is there waiting to hear from us, and he's disappointed me because I expected a 10-gallon hat, but maybe next time, Kaveh. What's it like there?
It's great, Mike. It's great to be at the home of J.R. Ewing and the Dallas Cowboys. The weather is perfect today. It's around 28 degrees, not too sunny. Looking up, I can see clouds. I think tomorrow it will be perfect conditions for this game between England and Croatia. Even if it's really, really hot, of course, don't forget that the stadium roof can be closed. It's a magnificent stadium, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. I think if the climate control, air conditioning is on, it'll be very, very cool inside. I've been to some of these NFL stadiums that have got air conditioning and a closed roof. And when you walk in, it's almost like walking into a fridge. So conditions should be perfect. And I think there will be quite a lot of England supporters inside the stadium as well. At least around 15,000 England fans have made the trip. Obviously, England have lots of supporters out here in the US as well, because so many of their players are famous faces for US sports fans. So a real mouth-watering clash. And I think it's great that England are starting with a really, really tough game because both of these sides, especially in recent times, have a lot of World Cup pedigree. And I'm sure Thomas Tuchel will not be underestimating Croatia.
I bet he won't, Kaveh. It is a tough game, but given that lots of the fancy sides have already slipped up, how much pressure on Tuchel to get a win in this one?
I'm not sure about definitely getting a win. I think if England play well and they get a draw, it'll still be a pretty good result, because don't forget, even with one win, you've got a pretty good chance of getting through to the knockout stages, because 3/4 of the teams who finish third in their groups are going to progress to the round of 32. So I don't think it'll be the end of the world if England don't win. But of course, everyone is going to be watching this England performance very, very closely. England performances at major tournaments are always watched very, very closely. But I think even more so this time round, because it'll be the first time in 10 years that Gareth Southgate won't be in charge of the England side. And it'll be the first time, of course, that we'll be seeing an England side at a major tournament managed by Thomas Tuchel. Having said all that, Thomas Tuchel is a very experienced manager. He's proven himself at the top of the club game. He's managed sides like PSG, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Chelsea as well. He's been to 2 Champions League finals. He's won one of those, lost the other one. So I don't think the pressure is going to get to Thomas Tuchel, but I think he should be prepared for the fact that win, lose or draw, the England performance tomorrow is going to be poured over by every single football fan in England.
It absolutely will. The FA were really keen to get Tuchel to extend his contract. They got their wish. Is that only a good decision if England go deep in this World Cup?
I think you're right there, because, look, qualifying was so easy, because qualifying has become a walk in the park for England in recent times, because they were in a very, very easy group. Then we had some friendlies. England, I think, lost to Senegal. They lost to Japan as well. So had Thomas Tuchel done enough to deserve a new contract? Well, certainly the FA think he's done enough. And I think the FA wanted to deal with this from a PR communications point of view, because they didn't want to go into a major tournament with question marks hanging over the future of their manager. So from a PR point of view, I think they've been pretty smart to tie Thomas Tuchel to a new contract. But of course, they're not going to look very smart if England don't have a good tournament. Having said all that, my colleague Rob Dorset spoke to the FA Chief Executive Mark Bullingham yesterday, and he asked him quite a few questions about this contentious decision to give Tuchel a new contract.
We were looking forward to 2028. We want to give ourselves the best chance of winning now, but also winning in 2028. So we've got a great manager working very well with the players, and we felt we wanted to continue that. For any club manager, moving to international football, it's a different job, different rhythm and different challenges, and Thomas has really adapted very well to them. He's enjoying it, we're enjoying having him, and fundamentally he's doing really well. We had a great qualification, but more importantly, behind the scenes we felt everything was working really well.
Is there a risk signing up for those extra 2 years if it all goes horribly wrong? Because you're tied to him then, and there's going to be an awkward conversation.
From our point of view, we obviously look at everything. We felt there was a situation where we've got a really good manager. We feel we've got a really important tournament coming up with 2028, and we feel we've got the best chance of doing well with him. So we'd rather take the risk of signing him now and give ourselves the best chance of success in 2028. And if you go into any tournament not knowing where you're going to afterwards, of course that can be a distraction. It's not always possible to avoid that, but if you can, you'd like to.
So the FA and Thomas Tuchel talking a good game so far, but of course tomorrow the players are going to have to walk the walk, and I don't think it's going to be easy because Croatia have really good pedigree in major tournaments. Don't forget Russia 2018 semi-final in Moscow. Croatia beat England, and also don't forget that last time round World Cup in Qatar, Croatia got to the semi-finals and finished third.
Carve, for the moment, thank you. Next time I see you, I want to see a cowboy hat. But for the moment, thank you very much. Hello again, this is World Cup Report. Now, England have been dealt an injury blow before their opening game against Croatia tomorrow. Tino Livramento has been ruled out of the tournament and been replaced immediately by the Chelsea centre-back Trevoh Chalobah. Well, Livramento injured a calf in training on Sunday. Had a scan on Monday which confirmed he is out of the tournament. He'll return to Newcastle for rehabilitation. Now, because the injury happened more than 24 hours before England's opening game, Tuchel was able to call up a replacement, and he went for Chelsea's centre-back Chalobah. Now, he isn't able to play any part of the opening fixture, so he'll head to their base in Kansas City.
Massive blow for the lad. I mean, it probably happens to every country, I think, where one player just misses out just before the tournament. I think Scotland had one, didn't they, a few weeks ago as well in Billy Gilmore. So, listen, it's devastating. World Cup comes round every 4 years. It's a dream of every young kid, isn't it? You know, when you aspire to be a professional footballer, could you one day get to the World Cup? So, devastating news for the lad, but, you know, he's had it really tough, hasn't he, the last few years with injuries, Livramento. So maybe it's not too much of a shock, unfortunately, for him, because, as I said, he does pick up a few injuries. For Chalobah or anybody in the squad, it all depends how the tournament goes. The tournament in South Africa in 2010 didn't go particularly well, so it's not something I look back on with too much fondness, really, and hopefully this is different for Chalobah.
Well, Chalobah's call-up has raised questions over Trent Alexander-Arnold's England future with Tuchel in charge. The Real Madrid defender hasn't been named in an England squad since last June, but his omission hasn't come as a surprise for Carragher.
We know Thomas Tuchel's stance now regarding Trent. When you look at some of the players in the squad, it almost looks like he's picking centre-backs who can do a job at right-back rather than an out-and-out right-back. Now, we know there's the special qualities Trent Alexander-Arnold has. That's the reason why Real Madrid have him. That's why the reason Liverpool supporters are so upset to lose him. But the qualities Trent has, and maybe the deficiency as well, we should add that. That's the reason why Thomas Tuchel is not picked him. He's looking at maybe the negatives more than the positives with Trent, and the way he wants to set his team up means that, as I said, maybe the strengths don't get amplified in a Thomas Tuchel team as much as maybe a Jurgen Klopp team, or whether he's at Real Madrid. But I wouldn't say I'm overly surprised that he hasn't gone for Trent. And I said a few weeks ago, he's picking team harmony, togetherness, spirit, I think probably over quality and talent. And I think this is another decision that proves that.
Well, Harry Maguire wasn't called up by Tuchel, and he's revealed when and how he found out that he wasn't going to the World Cup.
He FaceTimes everyone.
FaceTime?
So it's quite an awkward call. Makes it harder probably for himself to see our reactions and things like that. But I think he said that he's gone with the 4 lads that got him through the qualifying. But he did say that he can't really give me an excuse. We had a few words.
Did you?
Yeah. I'm quite a big personality. I'm experienced, and I was really disappointed. I wanted to go to the World Cup and play. I'm 33 now, so 37 at the next World Cup. It looks far away, so I wanted to go, not just play, but I'd told the manager I wasn't demanding to go and start the games. I'd have been happy to play 1 minute as long as I was there with the lads. So Football's a game of opinions, isn't it, at the end of the day? And no matter what squad he would have picked, there would have been people who missed out where people would have said that they should be in the squad. So I wish them all the best. They're all top players, and I think we've got a great chance to win it.
Haven't seen Harry Maguire's comments, I think, in the last couple of days. That's understandable. Every player feels they could have made a difference. And I'm sure the argument that he put to Thomas Tuchel over the FaceTime was the same argument every other player put in there as well. We always back ourselves and feel we could have brought something to it. And when Harry speaks about England squads and tournaments and doing well, I mean, in these last sort of 10 or 12 years, there's not many who knows that better, really, than what he's done, involved with obviously Gareth Southgate, going really far, big part of the England squad. But I always felt it was a bit of a long shot for Harry. He came into the squad late, but those bits and bobs from Harry and his family probably better staying indoors, and they probably look back at that now. And I always felt, and I said this at the time, there was still another Premier League game to play. Now, someone could have got injured then. Someone's got injured now in training. That can happen. So it probably didn't give him the best opportunity to come back into the squad. What happened, as I said, when the squad was first named.
Well, England are considering organising a training match behind closed doors at their Kansas City training base shortly after the World Cup opener against Croatia tomorrow, in an attempt to help newly recruited Trevor Chalobah fast-track his readiness to join the squad. Yeah, it's pretty unusual, this, for an international side to organise a game once the tournament has started. Gareth Southgate's time in charge, they didn't do that. The game is likely not to be a full 90 minutes. It would be interrupted several times to maximise tactical and physical priorities. MLS side Sporting KC, we're told, are happy to accommodate them. Now, lots of anticipation and expectation surrounding England before the opener tomorrow. Paul Merson believes Tuchel can successfully guide England through the tournament as long as things go smoothly off the pitch as well.
I've seen Spain yesterday, weren't great. I watched Holland, weren't great. You know, I'm watching teams that haven't been, you know, Belgium weren't great. But I do... How many times have I sat and watched England and thought, oh, no. You know, but hopefully, I just don't think Tuchel takes this job if he didn't really have that belief. There was no need for him to take it. You know, he's a top manager who could get any club, and he's took this, and you keep faith in him. You know, he's picked a squad to play the way he wants to play. Hasn't just took all the best players. He's took players that are going to suit the way he plays. But, yeah, hopefully... It's a long tournament. It's a long tournament. You've got to have a lot of luck on the pitch. There's got a lot of luck off the pitch in this tournament with travelling and logistics and thunder and lightning and sitting at airports and delays in games. So there's got to be a lot of luck off the pitch.
Yep, we've gone for it. Animals picking who's going to win in a World Cup. Yep. These two lions from the Big Cat Sanctuary have predicted 3 lions' fate in the group stages. Good news so far, as Armani and Lira are concerned. They chose England to win against Croatia tomorrow. That's because there's more food in behind the flag of St George. The next game then, Rory tipped England to beat Ghana. All right, Rory, yeah. Not all smooth sailing, though. Vander went for Panama's box, backing the underdog for a major shock in the final group game. Well, that's sealed then. We're through.